So friends, take home points from the pathological picture of mucormycosis that you must know are 2 points. Number one, that they have ribbon like hyphae, and number two, they branch at exactly 90° perpendicular to the main hyphae branch. Friends, so many students have been asking me about black fungus, mucormycosis. What type of questions could be expected in exams? There is so much controversy. There is so much information which is yet to be found out by epidemiology of this disease. So friends, what I've tried to do in this particular session is, I've tried to bring upon all the facts that you need to know about black fungus, mucormycosis. And you need to know not just for your PG exam, that is NEET PG, INI CT exam, but also for your FMG exam and UG exams. Hello friends, I am Dr. Vivek Jain, Faculty of Preventive and Social Medicine, that is Community Medicine, with online platform PrepLadder. So in today's session, we'll discuss black fungus, mucormycosis. How I am going to discuss this session with you, I have prepared a brief outline. First, we will discuss the epidemiology of mucormycosis. Then we'll have a look at pathology as well as microbiology of mucormycosis in brief. We'll also have a look at diagnosis, including radiology, what things you need to know, and also briefly about treatment of mucormycosis. And my own subject, besides epidemiology and risk factors, we have to look at prevention of this mucormycosis. In the end, I would like to share few must-know facts about this disease. Also friends, I have done a new thing in this particular video so as to help you revise faster. In all the presentation, what I will do, wherever I find there is a useful thing that you need to remember, I can say must remember for your upcoming examinations, I will mark it with a green colored box like this. So have a look out for these boxes. These will help you mark what are the important questions from this topic expected in the upcoming examination. So let us start with first component of today's session, that is epidemiology of mucormycosis. Friends, when we look at what exactly is this mucormycosis, also known as black fungus by many parts of our society and even medical diaspora, this is a type of serious, but it is a very rare fungal infection. Please remember, its causative agent is a group of molds known as Mucormycetes. Where it is found in the environment, it is found mainly in this soil. Friends, these are some fungal spores. So what is the major route of transmission? That is aerosolized or inhalation. So spores with the particle size 3 to 11 microns can reach us by inhalational route. Otherwise, it is also transmissible through cutaneous and percutaneous route also. Also friends, you must know that it is frequently a harmless disease for an immunocompetent person. That means a person who is having a normal immunity. But if due to any reason the person is immunocompromised, his immunity goes down due to any reason, then it can take or assume the form of a life-threatening infection. Therefore, there is so much news about mucormycosis nowadays. Now friends, in this particular slide, the take-home point you must know, the causative agent is Mucormycetes for this particular disease, black fungus or mucormycosis. Friends, why now there is a renewed interest in this disease suddenly? This is not a new disease. It has been present since many years. Now what has happened? COVID pandemic has been going on this planet since last 1.5 years now, and India is no exception. Now suddenly during the second wave of COVID pandemic in India, that is in year 2021, over last 2 to 3 months, several cases of mucormycosis have been reported, especially in COVID-19 patients. So definitely there seems to be an association of increased incidence of mucormycosis in the or among the cases of COVID-19. So suddenly there is a renewed interest in this particular fungal infection. So let's look at that. When you look at risk factors for mucormycosis in COVID infection, friends, frankly, exact epidemiology has not been worked out yet. Several risk factors have been proposed. Few of them seem plausible as per epidemiological studies. Like we know that this mucormycosis is definitely common in those patients of COVID who have hyperglycemia in uncontrolled diabetes, and especially those patients who have presented with DKA, that is diabetes ketoacidosis. Also has been found in few studies that one of the predisposing factor for this life-threatening fungal infection has been irrational use of not just steroids but irrational use of broad spectrum antibiotics also, which lower the immunity of a person to a great extent. Some older as well as some new studies have shown that this mucormycosis in COVID infection is also more common. Patient had a organ or a bone marrow transplantation, neutropenia, he is a case of trauma or burns, malignant hematologic disorders, deferoxamine therapy, that is the patient those who are on hemodialysis have also reported this fungal infection with a slightly higher incidence. It has been found recently that pre-existing comorbidities and prolonged ICU stay of the patient in COVID-19 also increases the risk of mucormycosis. But friends, as I told you, these all risk factors are plausible risk factors. No confirmatory association has been established yet. In fact, I was just reading a study, a very recent study yesterday, that said that COVID-19 infection itself may be a predisposing factor, not these factors. COVID-19 infection itself may be a predisposing factor for this mucormycosis. Still, if we have to remember for our examination purposes, the major risk factors I will say have been proposed to be three. These are hyperglycemia in uncontrolled diabetes, that is diabetic ketoacidosis. Second factor is rampant and irrational use of steroids, and third factor is irrational use of broad spectrum antibiotics. Now friends, all of us must know what are the various types of mucormycosis. It actually affects a lot of body organs and is not restricted to any particular specific one organ only. When we look at COVID-19, we have been reported with maximum cases of rhinocerebral, that is sinus and brain mucormycosis. Along with that, COVID-19 is a pulmonary lung infection. So pulmonary lung mucormycosis. But I told you it's not a new disease. If you look at the history of mucormycosis patients, they also may get mucormycosis of skin, that is cutaneous mucormycosis, gastrointestinal system, bones and joints, as well as it could be a fulminant disseminated type of mucormycosis which carries a very bad prognosis. Now you are a doctor sitting in your OPD or an emergency of a hospital. How will you diagnose, detect mucormycosis? First thing is clinical symptomatology. So let's look at that. Looking at the rhinocerebral type of mucormycosis, that is which affects sinuses and brain. Here the patient may present with pain, that is facial, sinus, headache or teeth and gums. He may also have paresthesia, decreased sensation over half side of the face. Patient may report with black discoloration of the skin, black fungus. So black word now you can correlate with this particular disease. So black discoloration of the skin, especially in the nasolabial groove. Also patient may have nasal crusting or discharge, which may be again of blackish color, or it may even be blood tinged. When we look at the pulmonary mucormycosis, then patient may present with fever, cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, and there may be expectedly a worsening of the respiratory symptoms, hemoptysis, chest pain, alteration of consciousness, and even headache has been reported. Looking at the third major type of mucormycosis, that is cutaneous or skin mucormycosis, patient may present with blisters or ulcers, blackening of the infected area as seen in this particular photograph. Also patient may report with pain, warmth, excessive redness or swelling around the infected area or the wound, which is due to this particular fungal infection. Recently, few cases of gastrointestinal mucormycosis have also been reported during the COVID infection. In that, we expect patient may present with typical GI symptoms of abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, with or without GI tract bleeding also. So be on a lookout for these specific symptoms when you are looking for mucormycosis in current scenario. See, diagnosis of this mucormycosis we will be discussing shortly, but before that, you must know about microbiology and pathology of this particular disease. So let's look at microbiology of mucormycosis. Friends, this is the macroscopic appearance of a mucormycosis positive culture. So imprint this photograph in your mind in case it is asked in your forthcoming examination. Also, you must know that this particular mucormycosis, if you want to see in microscopic detail and you want to see a mature spongium, then we generally go for KOH mount, or we can use LCB, lactophenol cotton blue stain. When you use alternatively Gomori methenamine silver stain, then this is how mucormycosis hyphae look like. Looking at the pathology of mucormycosis, friends, if you look carefully, the key features of identifying these hyphae, these are fungal hyphae, you cannot confuse them with hyphae of other fungi. So you have to be careful that a very peculiar feature of mucormycosis hyphae is that these are ribbon-like in nature, as you can see in the photograph. Also, they are branching at 90 degree. In some of the literature, it has been mentioned that this is very much similar to antlers of a moose appearance, antlers like horns you can say of a deer. Also, friends, you must know that these are non-septate hyphae, or as few literature mention, we can also call them as posseseptate hyphae. Also, when you are looking at these hyphae, you must know that these hyphae are 6 to 16 micron wide. Also, friends, you must know, when we look at the detailed pathology of mucormycosis, there are few characteristic features. Again, you must know, it will also present with angioinvasion, that is, blood vessels will be found to be affected. Please remember, it is an aggressive angioinvasive disease. So it is going to affect the blood vessels. It is also going to present with hemorrhagic infarction, coagulation necrosis, you can see in the image given. Infiltration by neutrophils is another characteristic feature, and also you may find perineural invasion in the histopathological slides. Now friends, mucormycosis is not a simple disease. Its prognosis is not very good. So this is one diagnosis you cannot afford to miss. You have to diagnose it correctly. So now let us focus on how do we diagnose this life-threatening fungal infection. Mainstay of diagnosis of mucormycosis is two pillars. First pillar is, as usual, biopsy and fungal culture. You can directly detect the fungus in lung fluid, blood, serum, plasma or urine. Matrix assisted laser desorption or ionization will help you identify this species also. Second pillar mainstay of diagnosis is diagnostic radiology for this particular disease, where we mainly rely on MRI scan and CT scan. Other supportive tests include blood test, where we order a CBC, complete blood count, where focus should be on identifying neutropenia in the person. Also, you should check for blood levels of iron, glucose, bicarbonate and electrolytes. If possible, endoscopic examination of nasal passages will help you arrive at the correct diagnosis in very fast manner. Friends, also you must know, in our guidelines, national level, as given by AIIMS Rishikesh, they have mentioned that when you are using a specimen for diagnosis using biopsy and fungal culture, then this particular specimen must reach the laboratory within a period of 2 hours. So friends, take home point from diagnosis of mucormycosis, it relies mainly on two things. Number one, biopsy and fungal culture, where the specimen must reach the lab within 2 hours of taking it. And number two is radiology, where we focus on CT scan and MRI. When you are ordering blood test, please remember, we specifically look out for neutropenia. As far as fungal culture is concerned, please remember, we use Sebrot's dextrose agar or potato dextrose agar, where the test tube is kept at 30 and 37 degrees centigrade and it has an appearance exactly like this. If culture is found to be positive, we can directly shift to staining and observe under microscopy, where we try to use LCB stain, lactophenol cotton blue stain, and appearance of mucormycosis fungi or hyphae looks like this. Now friends, beside biopsy and fungal culture, I told you this second mainstay of diagnosis of mucormycosis is radiology. So let's focus on that, how exactly you are going to diagnose this life-threatening fungal infection correctly. First, we look at MRI findings. We focus on MRI of sinuses and brain. Friends, what is the use of MRI in diagnosis of mucormycosis? You must know that MRI provides a better evaluation of intracranial and soft tissue involvement, skull base invasion. It also tells you about perineural spread and vascular obstruction if any. Now friends, when you are looking at MRI for a suspected mucormycosis case, one thing which will help you in clinching the diagnosis, I am sure this is going to be asked in an examination of yours very soon, is on MRI you will find black turbinate sign which is going to look like exactly this. So imprint this photograph in your mind, black turbinate sign on MRI of sinuses and brain, characteristic of mucormycosis. So friends, black turbinate sign is a must-know fact for MRI cases of mucormycosis from examination point of view also. When we look at CT scan of nasal and paranasal sinuses, how they are affected by CT scan. When we look at CT scan, we focus on NCCT of nasal and paranasal sinuses. Friends, what is the advantage of using a CT scan? It helps us in identification of two important things. Number one, nodular mucosal thickness. Number two, erosion of bony sinus walls. So when we look at CT to help you clinch diagnosis, focus on these two things. Number one, mucosal thickening. Number two, bony erosions. So look at your screen very carefully now. When we are looking at CT scan, you will find that this is how mucosal thickenings look like, and this second image tells you how bony erosions will appear on NCCT. So I'll again tell you two take-home points from NCCT of sinuses for mucormycosis diagnosis. Number one, mucosal wall thickening, and number two, bony wall erosions are characteristic of this particular fungal infection. Moving to the next part of the session, that is mucormycosis treatment. Friends, this particular fungal infection needs very aggressive management on the part of the clinician who is treating. So please remember, go through the detailed guidelines as shared by AIIMS Rishikesh, but briefly from the examination point of view, what you must know is that aggressive therapy comprises of two components. If required, surgical debridement is mainstay. Along with that, supportive antifungal therapy should be continued simultaneously. Now, which drugs are being used for treatment of mucormycosis in our country? We are relying upon injection amphotericin B deoxycholate, liposomal amphotericin B, injection amphotericin B lipid complex, and beside amphotericin B, these multiple forms, we are also using posaconazole, isavuconazole. Take home point from this particular treatment that you must know for your examination purposes is that amphotericin B appears to be the mainstay of treatment of mucormycosis as of now. Now coming to the all important preventive part of this life-threatening fungal infection. Let us divide these preventive measures into two parts. One, will discuss general measures, that means where every person has to avoid contact with decaying organic matter. How it could be done? Number one, wear a face mask in high risk dusty areas. Number two, wash your hands repeatedly. Number three, avoid contact with water damaged buildings where there is a high risk of mucormycosis. And number four is, you have to protect exposure of your hands, feet and skin also from coming in direct contact with soil or manure. Now coming to the all important, because COVID-19 patients have presented with a very high incidence of mucormycosis, what preventive measures could be taken in these patients? So friends, be sure, number one, that there should be use of prophylactic antifungals in high risk groups. Number two, aggressively control the diabetes and do the effective management of a case of diabetic ketoacidosis. Number three, try to avoid irrational and excessive unwarranted use of steroids as well as broad spectrum antibiotics. Number four, make sure the population is sensitized, that they should report early with the symptoms if they develop. Early response and prompt treatment has been found to be one of the good prognostic factors for the outcome of this life-threatening infection. And number five, you must know, in case oxygen therapy is being given to the patient, make sure that we are using clean distilled water for humidification. So friends, take home point, that is prevention of mucormycosis among COVID patients, you must know. Aggressive management of diabetes mellitus, sugar control should be top notch. There should be strict diabetes control and effective management of diabetic ketoacidosis. Avoid irrational use of antibiotics and steroids. Antifungal should be started in high risk patients. Early reporting of symptoms improves the prognosis. And we must use distilled water for humidifiers in oxygen settings. Now friends, keeping your upcoming examinations in mind, I have prepared a list of 5 must-know facts about mucormycosis. Number 1. What was the older name of mucormycosis? Very right. It was known as zygomycosis. Number 2. What is the most common etiological agent of mucormycosis? Yes, the group is Mucormycetes. But what is the most common etiological agent? That is Rhizopus oryzae. So take home point from this slide on your screen. Most common etiological agent you have to remember for mucormycosis is Rhizopus oryzae. Third must know fact, overall mortality rate for mucormycosis is over 50%. So organism is highly virulent. Killing power or case fatality rate of this disease is very high. And this case fatality rate approaches almost 100% in case there is a disseminated disease or there is persistent neutropenia in the case. A recent study has found which kind of patients are uniquely susceptible to this mucormycosis. It is patients who have higher levels of available iron or zinc in their body. So friends, please remember that higher levels of iron and zinc appear to act as a predisposing factor for mucormycosis. And now friends, I come to the fifth and the last amazing fact about mucormycosis, which I deliberately saved for the end of this particular session. And that fact is mucormycosis actually a black fungus? Answer is no. Actually, black fungus is a misnomer for this particular mucormycosis. Black fungus is a term which is used for demataceous fungi or pigmented fungi. Then why this mucormycosis is repeatedly wrongly attributed or known as black fungus? This is because when it affects any particular tissue, a lot of time there is necrosis of the tissue and it starts turning black, which has given its wrong name, black fungus. So friends, please remember, mucormycosis is wrongly known as black fungus. So friends, with this we come to the end of this particular session on mucormycosis. Now before I go, I must tell you one thing. The difference between impossible and possible is a person's self-determination. So you have to find this difference and make impossible a possible thing for you. With this, I wish you all the best for all your forthcoming examinations. Please subscribe to this YouTube video channel of mine. I'll keep on posting many such academic videos on a regular basis. And friends, you can directly connect to me one-to-one on any of my social media channels. Friends, with this, those of you who want to download my app, you can download my app from Play Store and discount code coupon is also applicable. Friends, take care, stay safe, stay healthy.